Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on Instagram for your business. I'll be your host for tonight's or today's webinar, depending on when you're watching it. I'm Fahey from Business Station. I've been in business since I was 18 years old. I've had many different businesses, including those that have been featured on Instagram. And today I'm going to be taking you through basically everything you'd ever have to know for Instagram for business. It's going to be a bit of a mixture of a PowerPoint presentation, sort of take you through various sets of slides and information, and also showing you live on my mobile phone some different Instagram features and techniques. So I'm going to get started by sharing a screen. So this is Instagram Influence in Business. If you have any questions at any point in time, you do have the chat and question and answer function at the bottom of your Zoom controls. Go down to the bottom of Zoom, you'll find them there. I'll be checking the chat and the question and answer regularly to see if there's any questions. If you're watching this later, just get in touch with me, leave a question, and I'll do my best to answer them when I can. So let's get started. It's a little bit of information about the origin of Instagram. It began in 2009 as bourbon. And back then what you do is you check into a distillery, take a photo of your booze, put a cool little filter on it and rate that distillery. What I quickly found was that a lot of the functions there weren't very popular, but the key feature, the photo sharing, was the unique selling point. Think back in 2008, everything's photo sharing now, but back then it wasn't. So that is what Instagram started out as. In 2010, it relaunched as Instagram with the classic Instagram logo. And the very first photo I ever shared, a little bit of trivia for you, was a dog in Mexico near a taco truck. So that was shared by Kevin, one of the original creators. I'm not sure if I remember if the dog was his dog or was just some random dog, but the very first photo ever happens to be a pet. So you gotta love animal shots. So the big question, the reason why most of you are probably on Instagram, is to promote your business and sort of get advertising out there. So what is the potential of it? Instagram is one of those platforms that are still growing. Based on the latest data I have, which was about this time last year, this webinar being recorded back in October 2020, there was around about an increase of 76 million people from quarter on quarter. There's about 1.16 billion. So now it's around about, I believe it's around about 1.3, 1.4 billion people on Instagram. And around about 19% of the population aged 13 plus can be reached via Instagram. And this is worldwide statistics that you're looking at here. In comparison to the other big social media platforms, we have Facebook here at 2.7 billion users, YouTube at about 2 billion users. Now, YouTube is one of those ones that people often forget. It is a social media platform. Any sort of platform where you comment, share, and basically engage in a social way is a social media platform. TikTok, the new kid on the block, it's starting to creep up there, around about 689 million. I believe that's now 700 million. And Instagram, coming in sweet at 1.15 billion users. Based on this data, again, it's about a year old, so that has increased. If we just look at Australian statistics, this is the really exciting stuff here. You have around about 11 million users. So around about 52% of the population aged over the age of 13 are using Instagram. So it's a huge market potential. But here's the thing. Their daily average time is 8 minutes and 47 seconds. So you've got to capture that attention in that tiny little window. So at this point in time, I'm going to switch over to my mobile phone, load up our Instagram app, and show you some exciting things around that. So share the screen. Okay, here we are on my mobile phone, and I've just loaded up my Instagram. So at the very top, it has the stories. Below that, we have the feed. Now, 8 minutes, 47 seconds is the average time that users are spending on here. So they might be clicking on the stories and seeing what's going on. The very third thing in my stories happens to be an ad for Adobe Video. So they're trying to reach me, knowing that I do content creation. If I come back to my feed and I scroll down, again, the third post is advertising. It's that Adobe Creative Cloud. And as I scroll through here, I would be one of those average users where I'd spend 8 minutes and 37 seconds on here, and then I would be off. So some point during that 8 minutes, you're trying to get the attention of your audience. And the way that Instagram organizes this view, what you're seeing here, is largely based on your engagement. So if I come down and I see this picture here and I like it, Instagram's going to go, oh, Liam's interested in this content, I'm going to show him more. Because Facebook, who owns Instagram, wants to keep me engaged. Because the more time I spend on Instagram, the more ads I'm going to see and the more money they make. So it's important to remember with Instagram, with any social media platform, it works off engagement. The more interested you are in the content, the more content you're going to see. The more content you see, the more advertising you see, the more the social media company makes. So ideally, anything that you design, any content that goes up, has to be content that's engaging and interesting that your customers are going to connect with and relate with. So let's switch back to our other screen. Back to our statistics. Back here, 8 minutes, 47 seconds. So we really need to know our goal. What do we want to achieve from Instagram? Are we looking for brand awareness? Making sure that when people see the brand somewhere else, while they're walking about shopping, for instance, they go, hey, I know that brand, I'm familiar with that. That's something I'm interested in. I'm going to go look at it more. It could be, directly, we want a sale. We want someone to see something on our Instagram, go, I want that. Click it, purchase it, and buy it. So you want direct links through to your e-commerce. Instagram Shop has had a big change recently. I know a lot of e-commerce stores are struggling to reconnect their Instagram Shop. It is a bit of a process. If you're struggling with that, my very first recommendation is disconnect your Instagram from your Facebook, from your e-commerce, and reconnect it everything again, step by step. That seems to fix most of the problems. There's also a week-long review process to check over your store. So it is a little bit harder now, a little bit more fun to try and get your shop set up on Instagram. But having product tags there is very useful because someone can be scrolling through, go, oh, I like that, click on it. There's a tag, pops up, click on it, and they can go straight to checkout and buy your product. The final thing, the major goal that people are looking for off Instagram is leads. They want to engage with your audience and get some direct leads, messages that they can then follow up. So your leads is more often going to be for your service-based business. Your sales is generally your e-commerce retail type storefronts, and your brand awareness works for both of them. If people are not familiar with your brand, they're never going to commit to buy or purchase a product. So it's very much the very first step if you're establishing an Instagram. You want to put content up there that reflects your brand personality, which is very important. So how do we go about reaching our audience? There's a few different ways that we can do it. The first one being in-person adverts. This is your off-school approach. So QR codes are widely popular at the moment. So have a QR code in your online store, in your physical store that connects through to your Instagram, to like their social, to follow it. Other social media, if you have Instagram, you probably have Facebook. So create a post on your Facebook alerting your customers to the fact that you have Instagram. You can also use it from your website, have a link to your Instagram from your website, create a flow through effect where people go from your website to Instagram, Instagram back through to your website. Hashtags. Hashtags are incredibly powerful to be able to connect with your customers. There's a few different ways we can do this. Let's go back to the phone and show you how to do that. Start share. Okay, we're back on our mobile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the search button down the very bottom. And it's going to bring me into the screen. So first of all, I can search a hashtag. Let's say flowers. So it's going to bring up a few different like pages which are relating to flowers. If I just search flowers straight up, I've got the option of choosing top, accounts, audio, tags, and places. So if I choose tags, these are all the hashtags. So let's go flowers and macro. That one sounds interesting. So I'm now checking out these hashtags. So where you have a business and we put up the right hashtags, if people are researching or looking for something, they're going to follow these hashtags and go searching for them. As you can see, this hashtag has 2.9 million posts. So knowing what hashtags for your business is going to work best is very useful. Another one that I like to use is I like to use location hashtags. This is just great for centralizing your business, especially if you have a physical location. So I'm in the town of Rockhampton today. These are all the top posts at the moment from Rockhampton. And if I click on tags, we have a variety of hashtags. So, you know, if I'm looking for a hairdresser in Rockhampton, I can click on Rockhampton hairdresser and boom. There's a whole heap of posts here from different hairdressers in the Rockhampton region. Organized by top, you can also go recent. And if you use the new feature, Reels, it can really put you to the top. So Reels is kind of like short story content like you have on TikTok. But if we just purely use that hashtag Rockhampton, our location, these are all the most recent posts from this area. So if you use it and people are looking at your hashtags, they are more likely to find you in your area. You can also use a location tag, like places Rockhampton, which will then bring up content. So it looks like the races from the weekend is some of the top stuff there. So anyone looking for what's happening in the region will generally use a place tag. Let me know if you have any questions at any point in time, just throw them down to the chat. I am monitoring it. So coming back into our slide, hashtags are very, very powerful. The other one that you can do is comment engagement. So you use a hashtag, say Rockhampton hairdresser, and let's say you're selling hair products. You jump on there and on all the Rockhampton hairdresser posts, you find something to comment. And it's got to be a meaningful comment. It can't just be thumbs up, looks good. It's got to be something meaningful like, oh, you know, what type of hair straightener are you using? Are you treating that with a particular chemical? What hair dye did you use? If you use something that's meaningful, people are going to go, oh, what's going on there? The question is also great because they're going to look at the question and go, I've got to answer something. But comments are unusual. More often than not, you just get likes, especially with Instagram. So as soon as you start getting comments, people are going to go, who's this person commenting on me? And they're going to start looking at you, looking at your business page. So it's a great way to get attention back to your business and get customers looking and finding out who you are. I see we have some questions. So great question. How many hashtags is the right amount of hashtags? That is something that I'm going to come back to, so I'm going to leave that. And the other question we got is, Reels, what do I put on them? I'm also going to come back to that one because it's very well connected with stories, which is another part that we're going to go into detail. So hold on to those key questions. I am coming back to them. So comment engagement, very useful for getting attention back to your page, especially in the early days. That strategy has been very much popularized by Gary Vee. So jump online, type in Gary Vee, Instagram, comment engagement, and you'll probably find a lot of information. The next way to be seen, to be found, and to reach your audience is to pay. You can use the Instagram ads to fine-tune your audience down to exactly who you want. Put dollars there for as little as $2 a day to be put in front of the right people so they see your content. You just got to make sure you have the right content to engage with them, the right visual. Humans, we're naturally visual people. You want something that's going to engage with them, they're going to connect with, they relate to, before they start reading any sort of words. The final main strategy to reach your audience with Instagram is the nasty one, influencers. Do you buy them? How much do you spend? There's a lot of great questions around influencers and whether they hold any value. I have a few different tricks with influencers, which I will go into detail with. But let's start with hashtags. Very first question. My tips for it is keep it simple. You don't want to be using very long, very complex hashtags. You want things that are short and to the sweet and ideally easy spelling. You want to make sure that you're relevant. The more relevant the hashtag is, the more they're going to relate to it. So if you're trying to connect with mechanics and you're putting up hashtag Rockhampton hairdressers, those mechanics are not going to relate to it. So make sure that it's relevant and it's relatable. It's something they can connect with. More isn't always better. So putting 200 hashtags up is not going to be beneficial for your business. I generally recommend, and it definitely does vary depending on your industry and your type of business, but somewhere between 5 and 9 hashtags is about the sweet number. Me personally, I like 5 hashtags. I will definitely put less than 20 hashtags. Make sure you locate yourself using location tags. That was one of those things that I showed you. And don't be spamming. Don't use hashtag best hairdresser every single time. You definitely don't want to be spamming. So use a variety of different hashtags, research the product, put up a different hashtag and a different selection of hashtags as often as you can, because you'll reach different audiences with them. Paid advertising. It has a lot of potential, especially when you can put really cheap budgets on it to reach your audience. They can be as low as $1 per day. You can target your audience down to very specific groups and create very powerful call to actions. You can also A/B test your adverts. Put up 2 different ads to fine tune it down so that you can reach the exact customers that you want. Through the advertising potential, you can pick out people in different locations. You can pick out people in different industries, age groups. There is a huge selection of things that you can do. I'm just going to load up my ad tools and just take you through a little bit of a demonstration on using some paid ads. So what I'm going to do, get our screen shared again. We're going back to our mobile. One of these days I'm going to do a whole webinar just on mobile. Okay, so I've loaded up the page. First thing I'm going to do is click on Add Tools right in the middle. And I'm going to choose a post I want to promote. So I'm going to pick out this post, one of me. And I'm going to just tap across the top right. And I'm going to select a goal. Do I want more profile visits? Do I want people to go through to my website? Do I want more messages? Depending on what type of page you have, you'll have different options here. So I'm just going to say I want more profile visits. This right here, this is the real power behind Instagram advertising for your business. So pay attention. We've got straight away, we've got automatic options, and then we've got different audiences we can choose, but we can create our own. So I'm going to click on create our own audience. It's going to ask for a name. Just going to throw something random in. Next step, it's going to ask us for a location, or we can just use a local one and reduce it down to within 1 kilometre or increase it up to 30 kilometres. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to put in a location, and I'm going to say, I don't know, Gladstone. That's a lovely little nearby town, and Gladstone, Australia. So that's my location. It's going to tell me at the top that my potential audience reach in this case is 30,000, nearly 31,000 people. You see down the bottom there, it's currently targeting all ages and all genders. I might say, okay, I want to target up to the age of 30 and I only want females. Choose your ideal audience. Interests. This is the real power. Let's say we're trying to target people who like beer. I can type in beer, and let's say we're trying to target people who like Corona. We can select that. Or it might be we're trying to target mothers. We can also throw that in there, and there's going to be a selection of different things we can target. So what's a good one here? I'm going to go with working parent, just for the point of this one. So it's come down there and said that my audience is too specific. But that's fine. You can still run that. So random selection there. And if I click on next, you'll see there that I have budgets. So I can put my budget $1,000 a day, or I can drop it as low as $2 a day over 1 day. Because I went real specific with my audience, there's actually no one there. So I'm just going to jump back here. I'm just going to grab this audience, which apparently I've created in the past. And you can see there that for $2 for 1 day, my estimated reach is 180 to 480 people. So if I spent $2 for 1 day and reach the right 180 people, that can be so incredibly powerful. So incredibly powerful, especially if I get it in front of the right people that relate to the visual imagery I'm sending. You know, it'd be great if you could spend $2 and even gain 1 new customer for most businesses, but the potential chance to reach 100 new people is incredibly powerful. And this tool is good. There's a better tool that you can use through Facebook Ads Manager, but just as useful being able to do it on your mobile phone, especially if you do all your business from your mobile phone. So I'm going to turn off that screen share for the moment. I've got another question about looking at your Instagrams. That is something I will come back to at the end, so just hold on. So paid advertising is definitely useful for getting in front of the right customers. So let's talk about Instagram influencers. There's a few different ways you can do it. The thing is to make sure that you find the right influencer with relatable markets. A micro influencer with 100 followers can be very powerful if they're the exact 100 customers you want. Another trick is you could always make your customers your influencer. You know, when they purchase a product from your store, throw in a discount card that goes, 10% off, share it with your friends. You can throw in something in with your packaging along the lines of, we'd love to see a picture of you in your new clothing. Hashtag insert business. We've done that a lot in the past with our e-commerce stores and had great success with it because we find our customers become our influencers and tell and share their friends, especially when we've created a business where they're excited with our product. You've got to make sure that if you're choosing a influencer, that you consider your acquisition costs for your customers. There's always the option to pay per result or give them product for the post. You don't always need to pay per post. And if you're dealing with a niche micro influencer, which are often better, paying per result is a lot better. Say, I'll pay you $1,000 if you get me, $10,000 worth of sales. So make a deal based on results as opposed to giving them $1,000 for 2 posts. You want to check that they have a sizable following in your right market, but you also want to make sure that they have engagement. Anyone can buy likes and followers, but having a page that has engaged people is important. So if you come across an influencer and they've got 1 million followers, but they get 3 or 4 likes or comments on their posts, they don't have an engaged audience. They're not going to bring you a lot of value. So make sure that when you choose them, that they have a engaged and active customer base. Otherwise, I'd be going for the paying per result option as opposed to paying them per post. So we're getting on to the exciting stuff. Instagram stories, they have an incredible amount of built-in features that make it very easy to create engaging and exciting content. You can use the built-in tools and filters and even add music to it to make creating content easier. You can use creative mode to develop content without needing to share photos or video. You can use stickers to enhance your posts. And this is where stories start becoming useful. So what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to load up our mobile phone and I'm going to show you stories. Okay. So I'm just going to cancel the ad. That's where we were last. And just going to switch accounts back to the personal one. Okay, so at the top here, we've got a series of stories on various things, what's going on in friends and family and business life. And we're going to create one of those. So I'm just going to use the creation button at the top. And I'm just going to select a random photo. This one's, of course, very, very incredibly exciting. I've got the options to adjust, edit, structure, color, modify, as you expect. And I've actually gone to putting up a post and not a story. So let me just try that again. Up in the top left there, you have the story button with the plus. I went to the plus next to the heart, which is for a post for my feed. So I'm going to click on the story plus button. Straight away, we've got a nice little shot of my very messy desk, so I'm not going to show you that. I'm just going to take an exciting photo of my jeans. And at the top here, I got my various additional functions I can use. So I can download it, I can add something like a sticker. Now, stickers are great for building engagement. So you can have a quiz where you put in questions there that your customers then engage with. You can use things like location tags and hashtags on your stories. Even just something as simple as, how much do you love the color of my jeans? So there's some great options there for developing engaging content on stories. And I tend to find it's best to use stories to showcase daily activity in a business, things that are going on live then and there. As opposed to putting up really well-defined posts. You save them for your feed. So looking at additional features here, you got things like levels, hands-free, multi-capture layouts. Layouts is a fun one, just because you can actually put different things on every single screen. And it's also through here that you get the options for doing your reels. So to record a reel or photos, it's just a matter of holding down the button and it will start recording. Showcase something exciting that's going on in your daily activity of your business. So treat it like a TikTok. Show something a little bit fun, a little bit exciting. So we're going to stop our screen share there. So I use the main feed, the main wall that's there permanently. I use that for the purpose of showcasing photos and imagery from the business. It's not day-to-day activity, it's very well curated and designed for the business. Then I use stories for just like daily type activity, a little bit of fun stuff that's going on, nothing that's too serious, nothing that I want to be permanently on the feed of the business. Reels, I primarily just used now for purely video content that I would have otherwise put to the feed of the wall. So it's 15-second content. I look for something that I can tell a story in 15 seconds. It might be something where I use little snippets from different pieces of video to put together something exciting that's highly impactful and engaging. And you can use the music function there to make it a little bit more exciting as well. So With the Reels now, the new feature, I just treat it exactly like I would any video post that I put up into the main feed, but I put it into Reels as opposed to dropping onto the feed. It's essentially just Instagram's attempt to compete with the likes of TikTok, which is one of the fastest growing platforms. And they're just trying to stay relevant. So I treat it much the same way. So how do we get better imagery, better photos, better visuals? The first step is to make sure that you use as much natural lighting as possible. If you're using LED lights, like the type that are on your phone, or a ring light, make sure that you use something to try and soften the output. You can put like a light sheet over it just to diffuse some of that light, but where possible, natural light all the way. I love filming in the morning during golden hour. We get sunlight and sun rays come over the horizon. That is one of the best times to be photographing and filming. Angle your camera. A shot that's taken straight on can sometimes be very plaid, very boring. Try different angles and different positions and you'll get better visuals and better imagery from it. Creative photos attract a lot more attention than the standard everyday shots you see, especially when you start talking about product shots. Don't take whatever comes out of the camera as just the most, don't leave default. Make sure you do some sort of editing. Brighten contrast, use a filter, color it. Make it image perfection, especially if it's something that's going to be permanently on your feed. If you're going to be using it just as a story, yeah, it can be a little bit more raw and a little bit more just taken straight from the camera. That is fine. But whatever you do, always make sure you are consistent. Develop a style and a strategy that represents your brand. Brand development is something that takes time. So work out your marketing plan, what you're going to be posting, and stick with it. One of my all-time favorite things is to print out blank calendars and fill in the boxes with what I want to promote, what's going to come up next for this business. So print out a calendar and plan out your posts and then start photographing and preparing your content. Captions are really critical as well. You need to write something that's compelling, that tells your brand story. You can't just take a picture and go, like take a picture of me right now and go, yeah, attended a webinar. Tell a story. What did you learn? What was the best part of the webinar? Create actions. Use those shop functions, the links in your bio to create sales and create leads. There's no point building a huge following on Instagram and not getting anything from it. So when you design and develop your marketing plan, stick with it. You need to spend at least 3 to 4 months with a marketing plan to see if it's going to work, when you commit to it and develop your content regularly. And using something like your scheduled tools or Facebook, you can preload all your content in and it'll post automatically to you. And there's a variety of third-party tools that you can use to plug into scheduled content as well. But for the most part, I just recommend using Creative Studio, which is on Facebook, because the two platforms are very much connected. So what is your next steps for learning going forward from here? I'm going to show you a little bit about the Digital Solutions Program, which is what this webinar is hosted and run for by today by our not-for-profit group out of Perth called Business Station, who I work for. This webinar is brought to you by an Australian government initiative, but just before I go into tell you all about it, if you got questions, now is the time to put up your questions. If you don't have any questions, let me know what's the best thing you learned out of the webinar so that I can make these webinars better in the future. So next steps for learning. For only $44, you can get 7 hours of support where you can meet with an expert like myself face-to-face, where I can look at your individual Instagram and tell you what you can improve on. Obviously, we can do a lot more in that time than just look at your Instagram, but that's one of those things that you can do. We're able to help you with general business advice, website selling online, using small business software, social media, digital marketing, online security, and data privacy. So it might be that you're like, I'm considering getting a website, but I don't know how to do it. we can take you through the information you need to know to either consider building a website yourself or what you need to know before going to a developer. So very, very useful program. If you want me to be your advisor, I'm based in the central Queensland region and also travel out to the far western Queensland. But if you're outside that space, you can always put me down as your preferred advisor, and I can be the person that works with you, but I'll be online, unless I happen to be traveling into your region, which sometimes does happen. To be eligible for it, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to have an ABN registered in WA, Queensland or NT. You have to be running your business to make a profit, as in not a not-for-profit business, and fewer than 20 staff members. Go to our businessstation.com digital solutions link, as you see in the bottom here, or just type into Google Business Station Digital Solutions Program. So now's your turn. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Let me know what I can help you with. While you do that, I'm just going to load up my Instagram and just show you a few more quick little tips just to get you going. Also, imagine if you do have questions, we can look at your Instagram now. So if you want me to have a quick look at your Instagram, put your Instagram handle down below so I can have a look at it. Keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded, so if I'm looking at it, everyone else can as well. Okay, so we've got a question, how do you add to the story or post on a desktop? That is actually a really great question. I'll come back to that one. I'm going to have a look at these Instagram handles first, and I will then show you how to post from desktop. So we've got Franklin River Retreat. That sounds really nice. Just sounds relaxing. I'm not actually sure where Franklin is, but I suppose I'm about to find out. Oh, close to a winery. I'm loving the sound of it already. Okay, so we've got a really great curated picture that all joins together at the top. So I'm liking that already. A few different videos. Looks like some sort of great homestead type thing. So yeah, these are great. These are really high impact, really beautiful visual imagery. It's the sort of thing I'd expect probably for something like this, again, without knowing too much about the business. This is a 15-second or less look. I'd probably try and showcase a few more people in it. Being a social media platform, we are looking for what friends and family are doing. This looks relaxing as relaxing, but I would try and get a few more people into it. Let's have a look at the stories. So you've got some sort of bird there. So I'll probably show a little bit more activity, what's going on in that business. Me personally, I am going to look this up after this and actually see whereabouts in the world it is. But that's also something you can put on there, you know, whereabouts in Australia this is. So let's have a look at another one. So very well done. Pamela Malakine. I'm assuming it's the first one. Also assuming I spelled it right. Okay, so I guess this one's all around life coaching, mental health type stuff. It's sort of typical of what I expect from this sort of industry, which is probably not necessarily the right thing. Having all the graphics and everything around it probably takes away a little bit from the visual imagery. Because this information in the graphic, the text that you have on it, could just as well be in the caption section of the post. Because at least that way, something like that would then be clickable and actionable. So, oh wow, cool, you've written a book. Okay, that's next level cool. One of these days I will do that. So yeah, massive set of hashtags. It might just be a few too many though. So just a few things to watch out there for. We don't have any stories to have a look at. Again, it's very text heavy, and this might be you being a victim of being a writer. Social media is more visual, so work on the visual elements a little bit more and probably go a little bit lighter on the text elements. Just something to consider. But again, this would be a very dramatic change for your social. So I'd be weighing up how much engagement you're currently getting on this page and what benefit you could get from changing it to something else. So if you're getting a lot of attention, keep doing what you're doing. Otherwise, discuss and consider getting a new social media direction and plan. So we had a really, really great question about how to schedule from a PC. So I'm just going to get a new screen open, get that set up here in front of us. And I'm just going to grab a example business. I apologize immediately if there is anybody in the room or anyone watching this who is a vegan, but I'm using a butcher as an example. So from our desktop screen, from our Facebook feed, we come over on the left-hand side and we go to Business Suite. We click on Business Suite and it's going to load up your business suite for your business. And mine's going to be probably overflowing with the number of businesses I'm connected with. Hopefully not. Okay, so straight from here, we've got the options of posts and stories. I'm going to click on that. So it was just on the left-hand side. And you'll see these are the published ones, these are the scheduled ones, and these are the drafts. So these are draft posts that we're planning on putting up. These are scheduled posts, what's coming up in the next couple of days. And we also have the options to use stories. So we can create a story. So if you have an Instagram page that's connected, you'll have both options. I'll just quickly see if I can find one here that actually has an Instagram, because then I'll be able to actually show you that. Didn't pick the best one, did I? I thought we had Instagram access for this business. One moment, please. I might have to jump out and go into a different system. Okay, here's one I can use. So any business that I show here has given me permission to use their page for the purpose of training. Here's one of them. In this case, it's a mechanic. So we have the option to schedule posts both for Instagram and for Facebook, and the same thing as well for stories. So if we want to use a story, we go create a story. We select if we want it on Facebook or Instagram, we select our media, and then we'll have all the options to edit it before scheduling it. And if we want to create a post, we follow the same sort of steps. We decide whether we're on Instagram or Facebook or both. We add in our visuals. And on the right-hand side, instead of publishing it immediately, we come down here and we schedule it. So that's how you do it. You do it all through the Facebook Business Suite. Very useful. It will also give you data and information on how that business is performing and how your posts are performing. Won't give you so much information from Instagram point of view. Do we have any other questions from the audience? If you don't have a question, just let me know what's the most useful thing that you learned today out of this webinar on Instagram influence and business. Give you a final moment to just type in anything. If you want more help at any point in time, just jump on to our Business Station website. You're going to see a wide variety of different options there to increase and further your learning on all things digital. This has been Instagram Influence and Business. I've been your host, Fahey, for Business Station for the Digital Solutions Program.